everyone. Happy Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. What are y'all doing? I have a project for us today. So if you are getting in the gift creating and gift making mood, then I have something fun for us to do today. I'm Michelle from Serendipity House, and you're on the Iron Orchid Designs Facebook page. I am just trying to pull myself up here so I can see your comments, and then we're going to get started. Say hello when you come on. Let me know where you're watching from. I hope I'm on the right page because I'm not seeing myself. Still not seeing myself. Am I on the IOD page? Sorry, I have to refresh. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Beth. There I am. Phew, I thought I lost myself for a minute. Okay, now I can see your comments. All right, so let me show you what I've got for us today. So I'm gonna be zooming the camera down because as much as I'm playing around here, I cannot figure out in this, in the landscape mode, how to get my head and my project in the same frame. So you're gonna be watching the project. So here's what we're creating today. I've got a couple of these in different stages. I have journals or sketchbooks that are just regular sketchbooks that I have. This one has molds and a wash on it already. Here's another one that I did. I'm gonna be using this one to show you how I did the wash. And then this is what I've started with. So I basically just went and bought some of these books. They're hardcover books. These are sketchbooks. The inside have just blank pages and nice and thick. I got these because I figured they'd be easier for you to see instead of the smaller journals. And believe it or not, they were the same price as the ones that were, you know, like journal size. This one's like an 8x10 size. The other ones would cost the same. I just got it at the craft store. It's hardcover, so this is like a material on the front. I didn't want anything leather or like that slippery or vinyl stuff. I wanted something hard. So those are really my only requirements. Hey Cindy, hi Linda, thanks for joining. Hi Melissa. So how I started is because I'm a super sloppy painter. I make a real mess when I do the molds. I've got stuff all over my fingers. So I took the plastic bag that I bought them in and I wrapped it around everything that I am going to try really hard not to get anything on. So I'm going to point the camera down and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by showing you how to use the molds and how I did the first step in this. And then because I've already done it in stages, we can move along and I can show you all the different stages. Okay, I just have to make sure that this isn't upside down. There's a label or an engraving thing on the back. Okay. All right, let's get started. So you should be able to see all my work stuff here and then the top of my head, sorry. That's how it goes sometimes. Okay, I did nothing to prep this, and I paint second. I don't paint before I use the molds. So I'm just gonna put that aside. So what you're gonna need is cornstarch or flour. I have found that flour works great. I was out of cornstarch and there's a mini mart next door to my workshop and ran over there. They didn't sell cornstarch, but they sell flour and this works great. I use the Tight Bond glue. This is thick. You can put it on with a popsicle stick. I usually end up putting it on with my fingers. I have got the IOD air dry clay that all stockists carry. I use a trowel to help even the back off and then my molds. And I think that's all we're gonna need right now. So what I'm thinking on this one, just because I want to make all three different, is that I'm going to do some roses. So this is the new rose mold. I made a couple ahead of time and now the clay is all dry on that, so I'm just gonna get it off so it's nice and clean. So I'm gonna do some roses on this one. This is called Heirloom Roses. and it's one of the new molds that just came out. So the first thing that I do is just put a little bit of flour, cornstarch, dust your molds. It just helps them release easier. It doesn't, I've forgotten before, and it did come out fine. It just didn't come out as easily. And if you're making multiple of the same one, then that might end up being a little harder to release, because you don't want to keep running to the, to the sink to wash them. So just powder them a little bit. Hi, Bonnie. What do you guys do when you use baby powder? There's another one. I think there's probably a lot of things that we figure out work when we're in a pinch. All right, so I just manipulate the clay a little bit to kind of warm it, soften it up, and then press it right into the mold. You're gonna have extra, and I always save all the extra bits after we even that out. I use them. Just push it right in. So your clay should, it shouldn't be dry and crumbly, and it shouldn't be sticky. This is a really great clay, and actually I'll show you close up on the ones that I did yesterday. There's hardly any shrinking and cracking, which I really appreciate. I'm thinking I want a lot of buds on this. I want to do, I want to do a lot of buds instead of these the big huge roses on this, just because of the size that I'm putting it on. I don't want it to overwhelm the book. So what's everybody doing at home right now? I'm going to be baking after I get done with this. I'm going to go home and work on an apple pie with my daughter, and I think I'm going to use a different mold, but one of the molds, and just do some pie crust for fun for the top of my pie. All right, so those are the ones that I'm doing now. So usually you could pull off some of the edges. There we go. With your thumb. Put this aside. You want to keep it nice and dry, so keep it covered. And then the putty knife, you could use a credit card. You could use one of those rubber flower spatula things. I obviously don't know what it's called. But the reason that I use this, and I just go at kind of, it's at a 45-degree angle, and what it does is it evens out the back, okay? So the micro rim is where this is gonna sit on top of. Pull the clay back, and then you're gonna have a nice flat surface so that when you go to glue it to whatever you're gluing it to, you have a nice strong bond. They're gonna, if both pieces are level, they should just totally stick to one another and touch one another completely. And that's why I do go the extra step to use this instead of just taking them off after I do use my finger. All right, the easiest way to get these out is to flip your mold over. You're supposed to be working, Crystal. Does that mean you're sitting down and not working? Yeah, Tracy, what? Thank you. She's watching an amazing demo. Well, let me finish first before you call it amazing, because I did one a couple hours ago and I dumped drawers out of a bureau. So, all right, so if you lay this down flat and then you pick up the edge and you kind of roll it back, your pieces should fall right out of the mold. They kind of curl. Of course, I have none in the middle, but they come right out. See how easily that's coming out? Now, do I have one? I have one more, so I'm just gonna change positions, and voila. Okay, so these are some of the roses. And they have just such detail on them, nice and thick. I have to watch Susan Mencisador's video. She made cookies with some of these yesterday, and the pictures looked so yummy. All right, so I already have some of these made up. Otherwise, in a half an hour, I would never be able to show you more than just this one step. So let's see, baby wipes. I just want to get the flour off my hands. The flour and the clay. And we're going to glue some, we're going to lay the design, glue some on, see what else we need. And then I'm going to move on to one of the ones I painted yesterday and show you how to get a wash on it. Okay. So I am going, let's see, you guys are going to be upside down because I can't lay the design out looking at, my brain just is not that talented. I'm going to lay it out and then I'm going to turn it around for you guys to look at, okay? Make sure it's not upside down already. All right, so let's see what I've got. I'm not sure about this, if I'm going to use all the stems or not. So I'm trying to think, if I open the book this way, where do I want the weight? I did make one stem. And I also made a bee. I grabbed my laurel mold and made a bee because I just love the bees. I'm not going to pile them up and stack them on here, and the reason is that it's you know, it's a book. It's going to actually be used and it's going to be bumping on things. So what do we think about that for a start? And I've got a bee and a couple other, and then I don't know, I'm not sure about the stems. Do you think I should have a bunch of stems coming down? I think we'll start with that. Hi, Pascal. Hi, Reba. Oh, you couldn't hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Isn't that a commercial? Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I take the glue, because I'm messy, and I just put it right on. I will gladly listen to anything you have to say about the layout or what should be added. I do have a stem, and I'll grab that after. See, this is very thick. I'm gonna have to leave it. There we go. All right, I'm gonna leave it on its side there. So when you're putting your glue on, make sure that you get all of these little tiny pieces there. Make sure the glue goes all the way to the edge. You really want to make sure that you have full contact. Now, painting is the second step to this. And so when you go to push them down, if you have some glue that comes out, it's okay because we're going to cover it with paint. And the reason that I paint after I do this is because I think it kind of helps, like while this is still wet, I will go ahead and put a coat of white paint on it. You can do any color you want. But I think it helps with the shrinkage. And also I don't want to glue these over the paint if I don't have to, because that's one less layer of something you have in between the touching of your mold to your surface. So why add that? Because then, you know, if you keep adding that, then if something goes wrong, then you don't know what it was really. But see how long this takes? That's why I made some books ahead of time for you. We wouldn't get very far. I did have fun doing these yesterday, though, I have to say. I was listening to my, whoopsie, I almost put that upside down. I was listening to my 70s and 80s, and it's what I tend to listen to, I guess, when I'm working. Or I'll do a playlist and discover something new. Lately, I've been not minding country, and I never really liked it before. All right, so I'm going to wash my finger and then turn that over and see what I think. And we'll get out the stem, see if it needs a stem. This is out of focus. I'm looking at my iPad. It does not look out of focus to me. So we have one out of focus and one unable to hear you. I don't know about I can see the picture and it doesn't look blurry to me. All right, so the next thing that I do is just, very gently press these down to make sure they have contact. Yep, glue is coming out. That's okay though. You can go back and, you know, get some of it off with your finger or whatever it is you need to use. But when we go and paint it, you won't even be able to see it. Okay, so I do have, ooh, this is drying up. Oh, that looks better than it does floating, doesn't it? So I think I'm gonna have to add some stems. What do you think? Stems and leaves. Okay. The other good thing this is good for, I'm gonna just cut that right at the bottom there. Let's put this stem on. I only made the one, so I'll just use that and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay. I think, oh, this was straight on my mold, but it curled up when I had it on the table. And I actually think it looks better curled up. I'm going to squeeze that in so it's the same. What do we think? Better now. Does that look good? I think the stem looks good. And then I have a bee, so maybe the bee is what is going to kind of balance that from the top. Yep. Let's put the bee on. So I don't want it to dry. These are much harder when these dry without putting them on your surface. If you make a bunch of these and then wait until the next day, they do not go on as well. They curl up. They're really hard. You definitely could not like push them down onto your piece because they would break. I don't want to waste it since it's the other half of that one. Let's put that on. That one got glue everywhere. All right. So I'm just going to squeeze that in. All right. Now the ones I made yesterday, even these big ones that I'm going to show you in a second of the He Loves Me flowers, those really aren't even dry yet. Those, you know, they're pretty big pieces of clay. All right, so step one on this one is done. I am going to put some more stems on here after we're done. I'm going to make sure every single piece. Now, if you pick it up and you can look and see actually where your clay, your mold is not actually touching, and you just push it down on the edges. I can see it's small, the camera wouldn't pick it up, but just check that before you're done. And that's why you need glue right to the edges. Okay, so there's step one. Okay, step two. Step two we skipped because step two actually is me going back with a small artist brush and some white paint and painting over it. Now I've got this close up, you can see they're really, like these didn't crack at all. Actually, they barely shrunk because I got the brush right under there. This is the new mold, He Loves Me. And then these are from Bird Song. And where it cracked is really where it's most fragile. I've just got these couple of little tiny cracks. By the time this is done, you won't even see that. It'll add to the charm. Okay, Now, to do a wash, which is what's next. So this is painted and that's it. There's nothing else on it but white paint. I am going to use now my blue shop towels and water, and I'm just going to spray the water on here to dampen it. I have this, I use my squirt bottle a lot, and I have watered down paint. It's in here watered down because I was using it for the Flow Blue pots. So I just happen to have this blue color watered down. Now I like to make this really textural. And there's a lot of water in here. You just really paint it on. Now if I was doing like an artboard or a piece of furniture, I would probably be doing this a little more heavily, but I'm not now because the first one, the one that I finished, started to bend a little bit. So you got to remember you're really just doing this on cardboard. It warps a little bit. And so I don't want to put too much water on it because it's not really the stablest of mediums that it's underneath. I am going to try to move a little faster. You know, the other thing you could do is paint each one of these. Really, sky's the limit. You could paint these. You could wax and dark wax, clear wax, dark wax. You could use an actual glaze that has like an iridescent quality. Sky's the limit. This is also totally a project that you could do with kids. Okay, here comes this part. I hope I didn't. Now, like I said, I like the textural. So I like to kind of pull my paint around. Get those lines. Pull some of the white out. I will probably seal these books with a little bit of top coat. And then I think our molds look fantastic with a, ooh, look at that, because I got the white underneath. Our molds look fantastic with a little bit of gold gilding on your finger. Because it just picks up all the details. I mean, I'll lift this up in a minute, but just the details in these flowers, even just wiping this off brings that out. But you could add a different color paint and do another wash, something brown, like I did on the other book. And you just kind of keep manipulating it until you like what it looks like. And that's what the water's for. So this is what, this will work with like a chalky paint. I don't know, I don't think you can do this with acrylics. But I like the drag marks. It's definitely a certain style. Actually, if I did it in a line, it would look kind of denim-y, don't you think? Now you can't do, I couldn't have done all this yesterday because you can't rub on the clay like this when it's wet. So it does, like I said, it feels a little bit damp still, but the clay really has to be dry for you to keep adding all these layers of paint. All right, check this out. Now the other thing you could do, if you have the room for it, I was thinking is like the other one that I did, that I showed you when I started, this one, and this is the one that, see, it's curling up a little bit. And actually it could be curling because when this dried, it pulled with it. But anyways, what I was gonna say is you could, I might stamp this because I've got nothing on it but paint. So you could take ink or paint and you could type somebody's name on it, not type, stamp somebody's name on it with typesetting, and put on like create or Mary or whatever. So you could really customize these, and you can just keep adding to it until it's what you want. You could also do the binding. I painted and did the binding because I figured you'd see that part. All right, Mexico. I wish I was in Mexico, Erica. Is it beautiful? Luis, I am using, or Lois, I'm sorry. I am using, I don't use wipes on paint because I'm not really sure what's in them for chemicals. So I am using a shop towel and water. That's all I was doing. And I think I actually like that. I was going to say I might go back and do some more, but I think what I'm going to do is seal this and then put on some silver or gold gilding wax just to hit some of the details on the top. And then, you know, you have a beautiful book to give somebody or for yourself. All right. I have no idea how long that was, but I guess I got that all done because I had them prepped up ahead of time. So I hope you guys will try this project. If you're looking for any of the molds, the clay, the molds and the clay are sold at, you can get them at your nearest IOD retailer. There is a search button on the ironorchiddesigns.com, and I will also drop it in here. Go ahead, and if you go to my page and give a like, Serendipity House LLC. I'm going to finish these up and post them. It might be a few days because I got to go home and bake and get some stuff ready for tomorrow. And I'll probably be watching more of these videos while I do. So thanks for watching. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving all. Okay, bye-bye, guys.